What's up, Becca? Do you have your shit together this week?
I'm sorry. Oh my gosh. Did you just ask me if I had my shit together this week?
Yep.
Oh my gosh. Okay, I'm so proud of you. Have you been waiting 7 days to ask me that question?
You've only had like 3 podcasts.
You beat me to it though, because I wanted to say happy day after your birthday.
I'm a prime number now.
What a nerd.
Yes. Yes, I am 100% that nerd.
I'm just jealous because I can never remember what the prime numbers are off the top of my head, and I'm really bad at division, so I'm really bad at figuring them out too, because sometimes a number that's not prime still seems like nothing divides into it, and then it does.
I have a confession. It was Sammy that told me that my age is a prime number.
Oh, okay, good to know.
My Sheldon Cooper child. Yeah, and then I looked it up and I was like, you're right, so.
All right, back to your question, which I spoke over. Did I have my shit together this week? I think I had my shit together this week, but it was a hard week. And I don't know if we decided whether or not to be political on our podcast / YouTube channel yet, but I just want to say our country does not have its shit together.
What?
And
what,
it's really
leaving propaganda? USA, USA. Oh,
it's just really upsetting me, and I can't believe that we have 3 Supreme Court justices that were comfortable lying under oath at their confirmation hearings.
It's amazing.
Yeah, I mean, no matter what you believe about babies or women's rights, I just think that every American would believe that lying under oath at a confirmation hearing to sit on the highest court in the land is deplorable. And I'm just wondering, when can we start calling them a basket of deplorables? Like, I know that was really polarizing and Hillary lost the election because she said it, but like, can we call them deplorable yet?
I love a basket of deplorables. That's what I'm calling them henceforth.
Okay.
I think that's adorable.
All right. I mean, basket of deplorables. They do not have together. Yes. And
horrible deplorables.
I just think like we alienated a bunch of our audience that we don't even have, that will never watch us. So fuck it. I don't care.
Oh, I'm sad now.
But yeah, I had my shit together. I did a lot of writing for work. I love my job. I love that I get paid to write. I'm going to be a published author. Granted, it's a Federal Register notice about a public listening session, but I wrote it and it's being published by a government publishing office. So that was my week.
That's wonderful. Like, the only publishment that I've had as an artist is when I used to draw those stupid cartoons of Dr. Blankenberg on the board in creative writing class in high school, and he asked me to illustrate his poetry book with them because that's how much narcissist he was.
I have that book right there on my shelf.
Of course you do.
Yeah. I'll have to next week have it ready so people don't have to watch me dig it out. I'll have it ready and we'll show people your pictures because they're awesome and I love them. It's the best part of that book.
I drew them to get a rise out of him, and he just liked them because Dr. Blankenberg.
So bad, right?
Actually, I was kind of delighted, but I was disappointed, but also delighted. I'm like, why? This is supposed to make you angry. Okay.
We could do a whole episode on Dr. Blankenberg.
We could do several, really.
Yeah. Just a separate spin-off podcast, The Man with the Beard and the Jade Chair.
Just
It sounds like one of those Girl on the Train novels. But it's not.
So many great stories about Blankenberg. My gosh.
So Kate, did you have your shit together this week?
I feel like I really did. Like, I paid my bills and I celebrated my birthday really well. Like, I did stuff that I wanted to do and I kept my boundaries, and that's important. And I feel like I did have my shit together this week.
That's awesome. What's some of the stuff you did that was what you really wanted to do? I saw some videos, but Okay.
Okay. my body's been giving me a little bit of a rough time lately. And so I haven't been to the gym in like 3 or 4 weeks. And so I went and did hot yoga. Yay. And that was hard and I hated it. And it brought up like emotional stuff. And I was like, why am I having emotions during yoga? I don't know. This is my Zen time. Stop. But you know, bodies do what bodies do, right? Am I right? So, but it was still good exercise. And then I got in the car and checked like my messages, and I had a bazillion happy birthday messages, which was fun. And then my sister called and we chatted, which was on my list, chat with my sister. And my dad and my mom both called, both of them.
Wow.
Called. I know, it's amazing that my dad called and FaceTimed me, because this having function of his hands back is like big. This is a big deal. Yeah. Big deal for him. Yeah, so that was awesome. And then I went on a hike and I saw the most magical person on my hike.
Oh, tell me, because I watched that whole video to the end and I didn't see who it was.
Well, I didn't. Well, he's very private, so I won't show a picture of him or take one surreptitiously and then delete it from my phone immediately. But George, okay, I will try to tell the story fast, but he's a magical being and you need to know about George, okay? So there is a park near my house called Rope Mill Park, and it has all these like mountain bike trails, and I always go on walks, hikes on them, or runs. But like when I go for a run, that's like enthusiastic middle-aged obese woman, like just like chuffing up the hill with like excitement. That's not like I run marathons. It's not that kind of run. It's more like, oh, we're going downhill. Let's just get momentum. Anyway, so I had been doing this for a little while. And one day, about a mile into my run, there's this elderly gentleman walking sedately along one of the paths. These are not paths that are paved, okay? They're dirty and they're rocks and stuff. And he's like not a silver hair out of place. He's wearing a blue polo that's tucked in with a braided leather belt and khakis and like leather loafers, and he's carrying a cup of coffee in a nondescript paper cup or something. And I'm like, he's a mile in, like, wow. Where
just sipping his coffee, strolling along,
just strolling along, having a meditative walk. And I, you know, like I nod to him and he nods back, and I keep going and he keeps going, and I'm like, huh. So then like I run into him a couple more times, and I've got to just confess to him. I'm like, dude, I didn't say dude, I said sir. But I was like, this man is clearly some sort of forest god, and he has lifted this image out of my mind of like, you know, what a older CEO type Southern gentleman on a stroll from his corner office to the water cooler would look like. Just to look, you know, like really nondescript. But dude, you're in the middle of a forest, okay? It got noticed. I don't know how often you've been to a corporate building, but that's not what you wear on a walk in the forest. Anyway, so I told him that I am now, you know, that I think we had exchanged names maybe on the second or third time. He doesn't want to stop and talk. He's just like, he's on his stroll, his meditative walk, right? So finally I confess, I'm like, sir, George, I have decided that you are a forest god, and I refer to you as George, Lord of the Forest. He found this utterly delightful and referred to me as Kate, Lady of the Green. And so that's how we continue to address one another if we ever happened upon one another. And I saw him on a bench a couple times and just on the trail a few times. And I'm like, I'm still not sure this is a real human being. This might just be my imagination or something. I don't know. And then the pandemic hit. I didn't see him for a long time. And then one day in the fall, I was taking the boys for a walk in the park. They only want to go on the paved path by the river, whatever, at least for walking. We're taking this walk. We're on our way back. And there he was on a bench by the river. I hadn't seen him in like a year and a half. And I don't know if this dude's dead or alive, you know? And like, there he is. And my children saw him. So they can confirm he's a real human being. Okay. So anyway, he's wearing a mask. So like I approach from 6 feet away and I'm like, George, is that you? And he was like, hello. And so we like remade each other's acquaintance. And he told me about, this was adorable. I mean, not adorable, it was amazing. He was he likes to sit on that bench so that he can look at this tree because he feels like it has the face of Kyrianos. I'm maybe saying that wrong, otherwise known as the Green Man.
Wow, that's so
right.
cool.
And he's like meditating with him and whatever. And he and his wife are writing a book on Aztec mythology. And I'm like,
what?
And he's like, yeah, and then I'm a spiritual leader. And he went on to like say it in the most delicate way possible because I am in the South. It is the Bible Belt. But basically he was like saying he's a spiritual leader for anyone, not just Christians. And, you know, and I'm like, how?
That's awesome.
You know, and so we finish our conversation and I go on. And then I realized it was the autumn equinox.
Oh, wow. That's
right?
really cool.
It was amazing. And then I didn't see him again until, guess when? The spring equinox, this past spring equinox. And I'm like,
my gosh,
magical being. And I actually saw him from the other side of the river when I was going on a hike with my friend. And of course, I have no cool and no chill whatsoever. And I yelled at him across the river. I'm like, George, is that you? And he's like, yes, you know. Anyway.
So what you're saying is this episode is sponsored by George the Lord.
George, Lord of the Forest. And I saw him on my birthday yesterday. I wasn't even going to go on that hike on that side of the river. And there
George,
he was.
Lord of the Forest for all your
Lord of the Forest to George.
George, Lord of the Forest. Where do you sit and watch trees? I'm sorry, I'm just trying to work out what his motto is, his catchphrase.
Oh, and he because I hadn't really chatted with him for like over a year. He told me he and his wife aren't working on the Aztec mythology book anymore. They're taking a break from that. They're working on a book on the sacred feminine.
Oh, George, Lord of the Forest, hero of my heart.
I know, right? And they finished a chapter on research and they're now doing a chapter on like drums and dancing. I'm like,
that's amazing.
May I worship at your feet, sir?
Well, we're going to have to get George, Lord of the Forest, on here one day.
He doesn't do social media. I asked him if there was a Facebook page or something where I could show my support. He's like, oh, I'm not on social media. I don't even have a cell phone. I'm like, of course not.
He couldn't just like sit in the woods with you with your phone and talk to you while we talk to each other. You don't think?
I never even tried to take a selfie with him. I don't know if he'd be down for it, but I think
George, Lord of the Forest, for all your privacy needs. There you go. That's his catchphrase. All right. So we have a really great guest this week, and she's off camera. So you thought it was just Kate and I, but we tricked you.
You are fools.
Just to make sure that we have enough time to talk to our guest, I'm going to end our little chitter chatter about if we have our shit together and say that, yes, we both had our shit together this week. I'm blessing it as shit together. Moving on to housekeeping notes. I don't know if you saw, I didn't watch it because I don't know, it was a very busy week. Our third episode had a little title card and opening music and closing music, and so now I think we have like 3 names we're working with here. We have like KateNBek, we have Do You Have Your Shit Together, and we have Welcome to the Shit Show. So like last week it said Welcome to the Shit Show with KateNBek. Do you have your shit together? I think so. We have like our name is growing longer and longer and longer, so we may need to narrow that down, but
it's evolving.
But thank you to Frank for the wonderful title cards and music, and the music is very NPR-y, so we're going to have to work on our NPR voices. Hello.
Our NPR voices, yes.
Introducing.
Just say the word.
Do you have your shit together with KateNBek? Hello, Kate.
You have your shit together. Hello, Beck.
Week? Yeah, okay. So we'll keep working on that. And as this is our 4th episode and we now have like a good collection, we're gonna have my brother, I think I'm just gonna call him our producer. Our producer Frank is going to turn our MP4s into MP3s, and we're gonna try and stick them on Spotify and iTunes and stuff like that. So if anybody's watching and you'd rather listen, look for us there, coming soon, and henceforth forward on every Monday and forever into perpetuity, or until Kate gets sick of doing this with me. And
until Kate's unmitigated attention span wears out.
And one thing I always forget to say is we have an email if you'd like to send us an email about having your shit together, or questions about anything we talk about, or any kind of wonderful feedback. We don't take terrible feedback, only wonderful feedback, because we're wonderful. It's like the worst email ever for like being catchy and remembering. So I should probably like have my brother put it across the screen. I think this is, Frank, this is going to be the symbol for edit this. I'm going to wave my hand like this, and that means edit this. That way you have to watch the whole video before you edit it. So our email address is KateNBekTogether@gmail.com. It is KATE, the letter NBEK, together@gmail.com. Send us an email. Follow us on Instagram. We are KateNBek on Instagram. I don't remember. I'll have my brother put
like
that
and subscribe.
Like, subscribe, and share our videos. And once we're on iTunes, leave us a review, 5-star review. That's important for, I don't know, but people always say that. So that's all of our boring housekeeping.
Because we like stars. We like more stars.
So on this week's episode, we have a very special guest.
Drum roll, please.
Our guest is Maria. We've known Maria since, I don't know, as long as I can remember, as long as we've known each other, right?
Existence, basically. Yeah.
This is our bovine loving, New England dwelling, lesbian extraordinaire, Maria Konazeski. Please turn on your camera.
Woo! Woo! Woo!
There she is.
There she is! Oh my God, the wings.
Happy birthday, Kate. I dressed for your birthday.
I appreciate this on so many levels. I praise you. Thank you.
Turn off your camera for a second, Maria, so that we can see the other side of you. Do you see that, Kate? Do you see? Scroll over on your phone. You can't miss it. It's so adorable.
Oh, yes, I saw that. Oh my gosh.
Isn't that adorable?
I remember that face.
All right.
Oh my God. I remember that red velvet dress, and it was just so cool to have a red velvet dress.
Right? Red velvet.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm like, what is it? Who? Yeah, that's cool.
So Maria,
I was really into having a red velvet dress.
Welcome to the Shit Show by KateNBek, aka Do You Have Your Shit Together, where we ask our guests, do you have your shit together this week? And what did you feel like your parents taught you was the definition of having your shit together when you were younger? And has that changed now that you're an adult? And do you have your shit together by either definition? So let's start with the easy question. Did you have your shit together this week?
I got COVID.
Oh, man. That's
Yeah.
right now you have COVID?
Together.
Yeah, technically, yeah. I'm still in like, I have to stay in quarantine, and I can't see people for like a couple more days.
Oh my gosh. I had
Yeah.
COVID in January for 3 weeks, and there's no way I would have done this having COVID. Thank you so much for not canceling on us.
Oh, if I couldn't have, I would have, because I've gotten really good at, disappointing people, which I feel like is actually part of having my shit together.
Yes.
One of my biggest, like, having my shit together things is like being able to disappoint people.
No is a complete sentence.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah. And even like not lying about it, like maybe, not having to be like, here's something that they'll like be okay with me canceling on them for.
Yes.
Just being like, can't do it, not gonna make it.
Absolutely.
I ran out of gas. I ran over a unicorn.
Yeah. For example. Yeah.
For example.
I found a dragon in my toilet bowl. Like,
That would be halt
anything.
everything and take care of that dragon. For real.
Yeah, exactly. See, I would know what to say to Kate if I needed to cancel on her and wanted her to not feel like slighted. But I'm trying to give up that like you're not feeling slighted piece of it, and just be like, it's okay if I can't do a thing.
But if you hadn't given up that fear of disappointing people, what would you say to me?
What would I say to you?
Yeah, I want to see if you do the right thing, because it's changed.
Yeah. I'm sure, because you introduced me as bovine loving, and I thought that was hilarious because I was like totally like, that would have been my like meme go-to in high school if there were memes in 1990.
Yes. I took a real risk with that intro, but I didn't plan it out. And those were literally the only words that my brain could grab at.
That was beautiful. That was beautiful.
Yeah.
That's so good. Okay, so if I didn't want to disappoint you, if I was like feeling pressure and I didn't want to disappoint you, I think that I would say, okay, so honestly, like 15 years ago, I would have been like, oh, I'm too hungover to do it. But then like then you're sober and I'm like, that's not a cool thing to say. So
that absolutely still is a cool thing to say to me. I remember and I honor hangovers.
Okay.
I don't actually remember.
Good to know. I would have assumed that like, oh yeah, but you wouldn't respect, but I'm like, but she's sober, she wouldn't respect that. So
but I totally respect it. But having been born with an alcoholic liver myself, I don't think I ever really experienced a true hangover, but I know what they're like, and rock on.
Okay.
I
think I would have gone with.
So go ahead. Sorry, you got it.
I think I would have gone with just sick.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Well, let me just tell you that if you ever want to cancel plans on me and you don't want me to be disappointed, you can just say, I don't feel like hanging out. And I'd be like, oh, phew, I didn't feel like hanging out either.
Oh my God, that's the same as me. I always have like this whenever somebody cancels plans on me. I always have this little like relief moment, like
I get to stay home and not talk to anyone. I'm so excited.
Oh my God. A friend of mine texted me yesterday and we often hang out and get our kids together on Thursday. And she was like, so are you wanting company today or you kind of want to keep it to yourself? And I am so grateful. Thank you, Crystal, for asking that instead of saying, hey, you want to get the kids together? Because I didn't want to see anybody else. I'm like, it's my birthday. I just want to be it. So many people ask me, like, oh, it's your birthday on Cinco de Mayo? Are you going out? No. What? Hell no.
Yeah.
I'm staying home and eating sushi and watching Studio Ghibli movies with my kids.
That was one of the best things about my birthday this year is that everyone left me alone. Like, they finally get it. I just, like, you want to make me happy? Don't bother me. I love being with everyone. I don't want to sound like a jerk, but it takes a lot of energy to be with people. And being home for 2 years with COVID, I've gotten really bad at it. I've gotten really like use it or lose it, and like I lost it. I lost that like the stamina that it takes to just be social more than once a week. So I know like I'm gonna be doing something on Mother's Day with the kids and Julia's mom. We're all gonna go see Doctor Strange and go out to eat. And so when the boy that I sort of do things with asked me what I was doing on Saturday night, I didn't know how to answer him because I was like, I'm already being social one time this week, and I don't think I have the spoons to be social a second time, even though you're cute like you. So we haven't really nailed that. We haven't worked that out yet. I actually said I might need to stick closer to home Saturday night. Did you have something in mind? And he said sort of, and he never texted again. So if it dies there, I'm okay with that. But all right, I would say, Maria, that it doesn't matter if you had your shit together, you have COVID, and that's
well, I would say that. So I think that there's one thing that I did because so I work from home all the time. Mm-hmm. I also am chronically ill. Like I have migraines all the time and other weird neurological symptoms that mean that I work less than most people. And I often like have to work through that to some extent. And actually saying, no, I'm not going to work when I just had a cold, I was like, this isn't as bad as a migraine. Actually saying, no, I'm not going to work was like a big deal. And it was really hard the second day when I was like, I'm definitely feeling better. I'm not like bowled over like I was the day before. It was much harder. And I texted my best friend, Hannah, who I knew would give the right answer. And I was like, it's okay if I call out of work again today, right? even though I'm feeling a little better. And she was like, and she pointed out, she's like, you always work through feeling sick. You legit have COVID, call out. And I was like, so like having some, like knowing who to call, who to talk to, who to like give me that reassurance that I was making the right choice and actually doing it and give me, and that it was like a wonderful day. And I'm really sad to say that like I felt better than I've felt in, you know, a while, even though I had COVID, because I wasn't like working.
That's awesome. Not working does equal having your shit together, especially if that's something that's hard for you to do.
Yeah.
Knowing who to call to get the support that you need and the wisdom that you need when you don't have the strength of will to do it yourself. That's huge for having your shit together, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Knowing who you can count on.
Yeah.
Question. Once you made the decision and you made the call, did you then allow yourself to rest physically, mentally, and spiritually for the rest of the day? Or did you spend the whole day regretting your decision, picking yourself up and feeling guilty and trying to justify your decision and fight with yourself in your head like I would have?
So I spent the morning, I spent my morning like spinning like that. And I went to my like self-compassion meditation group and I couldn't pay attention because my brain was going zzz. And you know,
self-compassion meditation.
And then I sent I sent the message to I actually called out of sick work first.
Okay.
And even then I couldn't let it go. So then I called in reinforcements. I texted my friend and like, and it was helpful that we went through like our MBA program together, and we have, you know, she's like totes my bestie. We like tell each other when we're clipping our toenails kind of person. You know, like, you know, every single thing about every incredibly mundane detail about my life. But we're both like, you know, have a lot of internal drive to work. Like we've made this part of our personal persona. So like having her, like, I knew she would say, don't work. And I also knew like that it meant the same thing to her that it would mean to me. So once she said it, I was really off the hook and I slept for 3 hours.
Nice.
And then the rest of the day I read and like I actually did a workout and just chilled out.
Yeah. So I wonder why it is that well, I don't know about you, Kate, but I'm exactly the same way, Maria. And I don't know the real reason for it, but I do know, maybe it was when I got kicked in the shin at my first soccer game because my parents didn't buy me shin guards, and I had this huge bloody purple lump on my leg, and my dad made the coach put me back in. Or maybe it was when I called the daycare I worked at the first time I had pink eye and said, I can't come in, I have pink eye. And they said, no, you can't call out for pink eye. And I said, but it's contagious. And they said, it doesn't matter. We have no one to cover your classroom. Get in here. Or, you know, I don't know where I got this message that I have to work no matter what. Right. But
holy horrified face going on for podcast.
Right?
Holy crap.
But I do know that, like, I remember the first time I got sick at my federal job, I was still a contractor. And I remember one of the managers, and so even then it was like, the customer, you can't disappoint the customer. Like, we were not encouraged to use our personal time. And then the manager of the office came over to me and said, are you okay? And I was like, oh, I have a cold. I'm okay. And he was like, go home if you're sick. You don't have to be here. We'll be okay. And he's like, I mean, if you have leave. And it was like, oh, now that I'm a Fed and I have sick leave and it is accruing and accruing and accruing and it's getting bigger and bigger and bigger, I don't know. I still am bad at using it. Like, I'll be and same thing, Maria. I'm like, it's a cold. I'm in my pajamas. Like, I took a call from my supervisor going, I had a cold, and he could hear it in my voice. I didn't turn my camera on because I was in my pajamas on my couch working under a blanket. And he was like, are you sick? I was like, yeah, I got a cold. He's like, you can take leave. And I was like, it doesn't feel like I should take leave. I mean, one time I had the flu, I had a really high temperature, and I was like, practically laying on the daycare floor, still taking care of my 2-year-old class, sick till they could find a teacher to cover me for half the day. And like, I'm just sitting on my couch reading emails under a blanket. This doesn't feel like the kind of thing I should use leave for, right? But it kind of reminds me of like that night in the Monty Python sketch that had his leg and his arm cut off, and he's like, come back, I can still bite your ankles. Like, that's us, right? That's how we work. Like, I can still do this.
Real.
How about you, Kate?
Yeah.
Do you ever have problems?
Do I ever have problems? I think my work is it's a little different because I've been a massage therapist for the past 20 years, right? So you cannot go work on someone if you have a fever. Just like you can't send your kid to school with a fever because they'll get everybody else sick. You can't go work on people if you have a fever or if you're snotty. They can hear you while you're massaging. If you're like, like they can hear you. That's so gross. And they're gonna get sick and you don't know if they're immune compromised, and so yeah. And also I give a shitty massage if I'm sick, I assume. So, because I just don't have the strength, and I'm kind of I've always been like the deep tissue girl at work. Like if anyone needs a bulldozer, that's me. So
BRT.
Huh?
BRT. I'll be right there.
Right? Come on over. I got elbows, 2 of them. Yeah. So all this booty is for a reason. So like I don't work when I'm sick for money. But if I have that time off, then I can't remember a time when I'm like, oh, I'll lay in bed till I feel better because rest and restoration are important. That is how one recovers. Yes. Even though that's what I tell everybody else, they're like, well, I should go do another workout. I'm like, no, you pulled a hamstring. You should rest your hamstrings or you will not be able to work out ever for a while. So like, chill out. Do I listen to that? Not so much. Like if I can't go to work, I'll be like, oh, I've been meaning to mop the floor. Up until the past few years. Past couple of years, I've had some hard lessons of like, I'm getting messages in my life that I need to slow down and chill out and like take a seat back. And when I don't listen, I break my leg.
Yeah.
So I've done that 3 times now, and I feel like I've learned the lesson. Like, lesson received. Chill out. So I feel like I'm much better about it now.
Yeah.
Better. Not great, but better. It's a journey.
Well,
totally
progress.
A journey. Yeah.
Progress is perfection.
There you go.
So Maria, you are the youngest, the second youngest. How many kids?
I'm 7 of 8.
7 of 8. Bored.
Yeah. And so I was thinking about the question about like what was having my shit together when I was a kid, and I actually came up with 2 really different things, 2 things that, and I'm kind of like, yeah, that's kind of surprising. So the first one, well, I mean, it's not surprising when it like that it's like this is what I got from my family, but that like this is what the definition of having shit together was in my family, which was the first one was like having a relationship with God and being like religious, being a Christian. That was like the most important thing. I remember my dad saying to me, and like the context I think was that I had gotten in trouble at school or something like that, or was like having, some behavioral stuff going on. And he was, guiding me, and he's like, sort of a way to structure, your priorities should be Jesus, others, you, and that equals joy. And I didn't really understand how to put that into practice.
How old were you when he gave you this advice?
7th or 8th grade.
Okay.
Yeah. So, and then The other thing, actually, I think was like, you have your shit together once you have kids. And I have never had kids. I don't want kids. I'm never going to have kids. If kids happen, it's,
aliens
on par with, it's either aliens or like the Virgin Immaculate Conception again. Not that I'm a virgin, just that I'm not down with a heavy D.
So question.
Right, really.
Are you a quote unquote real lesbian? I forget what it's called.
A real lesbian? Oh, you mean a gold star lesbian?
Oh yeah, is that what it's called?
I am not a gold star lesbian. No,
Okay.
I have had
you gave it a
penis in
try.
my hoo-ha. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, totally.
Gave it a try, not for you.
On purpose. I did it on purpose. Yeah.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah.
a conscious choice.
Yeah, and I'm not sure I've ever dated one either.
Yeah.
I don't think so. But I mean,
if you're listening to this on Spotify, you really should come to YouTube to see the pensive face Maria just made. While she was wondering,
like, have I dated a gold star lesbian? So like those two things I feel like were like in my childhood, like, and my mom really thought for a long time. I don't think that she's thinking that anymore, that there wasn't any I don't think that she thinks anymore. I'm getting confused. I'm so amped up. I'm so amped up here. That like you didn't become an adult until you had kids yourself.
Okay.
I don't think that she necessarily thinks that anymore, because I think that she does think of me as an adult. We have a reasonably good relationship. That she respects my adult choices.
That's
all except
big,
one,
right? Because
all except one.
Yeah.
Of me being a lesbian, in which she is a member of a group called Encourage, which is a support group for members of a group called Courage, which is a group of Catholic people who are gay, who live celibate lives.
Okay, can we just talk about all of the single adults we knew when we were growing up that we thought were celibate for Jesus, and now we look back and we're like, oh, they were gay?
Yeah. I think we shouldn't name names.
Yeah. So Frank,
but
go back a couple seconds and bleep the name Kate just said. But yes, I agree, Kate. Definitely that person. Mm-hmm. Definitely the person that person tried to marry. Probably.
Who did they try to marry?
Yeah, definitely. And there were definitely some like people in the community who were single and adults and not on the dating scene.
Yeah.
And it was I didn't. Yeah. And I've thought back and I've been like,
yeah. So I just know that like that was difficult at first though with your mom, and you kind of you went far away to college and kind of stayed there because it was easier than coming home, even just for a visit, right? Is that?
Oh man, like,
is that a misperception?
It's had a huge impact on my ability to have a relationship with not just my mom, but all other members of my family too. Some members of my family have like totally stepped up. My younger sibling is also queer, and like that was a lifesaver. That was a psychological, mental, joyful, like lifesaver, that it was not only somebody else in my family, but that it was my younger sibling who's the next person in line, 8 of 8. I'm 7 of 8. They're 8 of 8, and that we we had each other while we were going through this separation from family kind of stuff, and got to really acknowledge like who was being a butt and who was not about the whole thing.
Again, that second like validation that you needed. It's not you, it's them.
It would have been harder, and it would have been okay, but like I had to go far away, and for a long time, and even now probably because I don't do it very often, like when I would go home, I would come for a visit to see people, I would come home just feeling horrible about myself, and not, and like that, because that piece of me was never acknowledged or talked about or asked about or anything.
So your family employed don't ask, don't tell.
Which is like, it sounds way
horrible.
more benign than it actually is.
Oh, I think it sounds horrible. That there's a whole like, entire part of yourself that no one will talk about.
Yeah.
Really makes it feel shameful. It's just horrible.
Yeah.
Horrible.
Yeah, totally. And that's like to this day, like that's like that is my trauma. Like, not being able to bring a piece of myself into the room is like just the worst thing.
Yeah, I just,
and it's not even just being gay, but anything, anything that could carry just like a whiff of shame, possibly. Like if I can't bring that into the room, then like I'm having a bad experience.
Yeah, and I would say, like, as a mom myself, I didn't get there right away. I thought I was there all along with my kids since the day they were born. And I thought just the fact that they knew that that they would know that I was so accepting and open-minded, just because, like, I mean, like, you were like my token gay person for my kids. I'd be like, since they were as little as I can remember, Maria's gay, Maria's like, someone, Maria's gay, like, that's gonna make me be a good mom, and they're gonna know they can be themselves. And I still had a kid who felt like he couldn't come out to me as his truest self because I made some offhanded comment once about how horrible it would be to have a trans kid, right? And I know I must have done some other things that make my oldest not feel as accepted as they want to feel, because there are often times where that connection is not what I'd want it to be, and they moved away and they don't come home much. And I always am thinking, like, don't be that mom, and then it happens. And so I don't think you should minimize the impact that had on your life. This is like a really long self-centered rant about don't minimize that impact. Like, yes, as a mother of queer children, I think that parenting your queer child in the most loving, open-minded, accepting way possible is the number one thing you can do for your child's health and well-being and being able to get their shit together as adults.
And like knowing, and it seems really hard too. Like, I just don't, I mean, I'm not a parent, and I feel like I can't really judge, except for my own experience, because I have to be able to psychologically survive. I have to be able to say, that was not okay. That was not okay. That was not okay.
Correct.
But like, yeah. So, it's so that piece of it is, definitely not having my shit together, according to the way that I was raised, but according to the way that what I've come to as an adult is like absolutely critical to be able to have my shit together. Is like, can all of me be in the room? And I actually had this, I'm going to talk about this. I actually had an experience recently that, and I was talking about this in therapy yesterday, and we were going into this, and I was like, okay, where like all of me could not come into the room, and it ended up being like a really bad situation. And so I'm just gonna kind of like meander through the story a little bit, if that's okay. Yeah. So like I was going to get a tattoo, and I've been wanting to get this tattoo that has a lot of personal meaning around personal trauma for myself for over 15 years. I've had an idea around this tattoo, and I met somebody who was a tattoo artist, and I was like, oh, like, this is what I need. I need to know the person. You know, I don't want to just like show up in some random tattoo parlor and ask for this tattoo.
You need somebody who knows you and cares about this tattoo as much as you do.
Well, that's not what I had. It was somebody I met at the climbing gym.
Okay.
And I think that what you're talking about is what I need. And I'm not really sure I get that. Like, because I'd have to go hang out with a lot of tattoo artists and develop.
And you hate tattoo artists.
Personal. I don't. I'm just not on that.
You tell the truth to our viewing audience.
I think they're pretty awesome people, like, who make really cool choices with their lives. And I probably also a lot of assholes.
I'm sorry, I just really like to ostracize the 12 members of our viewing audience.
Yeah, we'll do one at a time.
Yes.
This week, I'm knocking down that one. Yeah. So
vegetarians.
So I went in, and I was feeling nervous before I went in, because this person was like, I'm gonna, you know, like, don't, it doesn't matter what you tell me about the tattoo. I'm not really going to work on it or anything until you get here. And I was like, okay, well, let's separate it out then, and I'll make an appointment one day and we can do the design. And then the second day I'll make an appointment and we can do the tattoo, because I was like, that's too much pressure. But I was always already feeling a little uncomfortable. And then I felt like once I had made the appointment, I had a lot of like investment in it, a lot of time investment and resources, because it was out of town, which is a lot of work for me personally, because my health stuff to like get there. And, you know, I spent money on a hotel to stay. And so I was deep in it. Like, I felt like I had a lot of costs going into it. And also, like, I felt some peer pressure. The thing was, so I walked in and like I started talking about my tattoo, and I started talking about it in like a little bit more vulnerable bit of a way. And I was like, you know, this tattoo is about like showing the sweetness that's inside of me. And like, I caught a little like, you know, like body language change, minor eye roll. And I was like, this person isn't going to be here for this, you know? But
so did you tell them you found a dragon in your toilet, or you didn't want to hang out anymore?
That's what I should have done. But instead I justified it to myself. I was like, I'm here, I'm already here. And I'm going to, you know, like, this doesn't mean that she can't draw the tattoo that I want. And went through this whole thing, and you know, I didn't end up with exactly what I wanted, and have spent like the better part of my winter kind of perseverating about that. And like, it's just like that situation was exactly what I needed to say was, oh, there's a dragon in my toilet, or, you know, damn, my toenails are so long, it's really uncomfortable. I think I got to go back to the hotel and clip them, you know? Like, I
happens when you clip toenails.
Yeah. And I don't know if this is a thing that people can like do with tattoo artists, you know?
Well,
like,
I don't see why not. Why can't we just say I changed my mind? I mean, it's like,
well, no, that yes, that was like an internal thing about me, and like about the fact that this was if it had been a person that I didn't know, it would have been easier to walk away. But I felt more comfortable, finally felt comfortable booking, because it was somebody that I like knew and like had really like good interactions with, not like deep, but just like reasonable, safe, like nice interactions with.
I think this sounds like something that I've seen, Beck, our other friend who has the same exact name as me. Don't worry, we're going to have her on the podcast soon. The way she's raising her twin girls, Sophie and Ellie, who are turning 5 now. So for the past 5 years, I've been watching her raise them in this very anti-rape culture way. And I'm so proud of it. They don't have to give hugs if an adult asks for one and they don't want one. They're allowed to tell their abuela or their pop, you're too much for me right now. I need a break from you. I don't want you to tickle me. I don't want you in my face. Like these things that when we were growing up, we were told, don't be disrespectful. Like I would get slapped in my face if I told someone, get out of my face, you're being annoying, right? Like if I was 4 and I said that, I absolutely would have gotten taken upstairs, spanked, told it was disrespectful. Jesus first, others second, put yourself last, right? Like can't hurt this person's feelings because I'll see her at the climbing gym, right? Like, and I think I've been in situations with men who I felt safe with at the restaurant, and they trusted them and got back to the bedroom and didn't feel safe anymore, but went through with it anyway. Didn't say no, just went with it. And then afterwards felt just as awful as if, and totally didn't ever want to see that person again. And I don't know if I would describe it as rape. Absolutely not. And, but that part of me that said others before me. Yeah. And I don't know if that had anything to do with the tattoo or not, but it seems
definitely
to me, no, I'm halfway done. You should have been able to say, stop, tell me what I do for half of it. I'm out. Someone else is going to finish.
Like I wish what I had done was, because like I perceived a small like body language, right? Mm-hmm. Those things can be misperceived. I wish that I had said, I had actually put my shit out there, and I had said, this is fully what it means to me. I went through this thing, and not like necessarily having to say this thing, but like I went through a personal trauma, and I like, need this tattoo, to really hold this meaning for me. And then like really just kind of put it in this person's face, and then have them respond to that. And then like be like, if they were like, well, what's the picture you want? Then I would have been like, thank you for the information, I gotta go. And if they had been like, okay, I get that, let's see how we can, like work that into what this is, I don't know, I don't even know what that would look like from the other end. But one of the things that I was thought about yesterday, so I'm 7 out of 8 kids, because my parents were Catholic and really took the like no birth control thing like seriously. And
they really like to fuck.
Obvi, that or my mom was just damn fertile.
Because I was really bad at birth control, and I still only had 3 kids. I mean, I was really bad at birth control. I was also very fertile. Like one time with Sam, just one time. That was it. So like,
wow.
They had 8 kids on purpose, or they really liked to fuck. So that's a nice thing to know about your parents.
Okay. Yeah. And thanks. Thanks. You're the best. But but like if you think about it, like how like absolutely no control over her own body or wants. And like, I'm gonna say this, same with like my older sibling, like she had 6 kids and she said, this is baby number last. And then there were 2 more kids.
Wow.
Like absolutely, like your body is not your own. This is who raised me.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. And pregnancy is trauma. I'm sorry. Like I've done it 3 times. It is trauma. It is horrible. I could not imagine doing it more than 3 times. It's not. I bring it up again since the first time. Did you know that the placenta's job is to try to kill you? Like, I mean, come on. Did anybody listen to that podcast yet?
I didn't know. I didn't listen to the one about how the placenta kills you.
It is so interesting, you guys. It is so interesting.
Wait, did you put it in the notes?
I did. I put it in the show description of the first one on YouTube. I don't know where.
Okay, I'll have to go back to it and find that.
I think I'm remembering now. It was on WNYC. I think it was Radio Lab. I think It was, I don't know what it was called, but it's really cool. But anyway, I digress. Your turn.
Yeah, but talk about like a spiritual directive that you have no control over your body.
Yeah.
Spiritual directive that you have no control over your body, and you shouldn't.
I
and if you take that control, it's like sinful and you're going to hell.
Yeah. Like, I sort of engaged in a way on Facebook that I don't like engaging yesterday when a husband was bragging about his wife's choice to bear their third child when the doctor told her it would kill her and she should end the pregnancy. And I just don't think that's a thing you should brag about, especially if you're not the person whose body was being risked. And furthermore, what about the mothers that made the choice to end the pregnancy because they didn't want to leave their other two children motherless? And their husband a widower. What are you saying to them? I mean, I just don't. It's very hard for me. It's very hard for me to I try to always see both sides, but it's very hard for me to see the other side of that, where it's you're only as good as your uterus. All that matters is your worth as a baby machine. And put yourself third. Hard. That's very hard.
Totally. But and so for me in my life, like as we talked about at the beginning of the podcast, the difference between what my parents taught me and what I got is like, no, I have to put myself first. Nobody else is like responsible to take care of me. Nobody else actually can do it right. And if I don't take care of myself, then I end up treating other people really crappily.
Oh yeah. Because then you have that, well, I don't know about you, but then I get that martyr complex that, don't you know everything I do for you? You don't even appreciate it. I'm always putting myself last. No, like I have this funny joke with Sam, and I hope Sam knows, if Sam ever watches this, Sam, I want you to know, it's really just a joke. It doesn't bother me at all. But like Sam will go out of his way to buy everyone in the world the most amazing presents. Like he and Emmett already got a Father's Day present for their dad. Like he will have the most thoughtful gifts made for the parents of his girlfriend, but he almost never gets me anything, not even a card, like for anything, Christmas, birthday, Mother's Day. And I know that if I put myself third, I would be such a bitch about that. But now I just tease him. I'm just like, oh, did you get dad those for his Mother's Day present that's on Sunday? Like it's just like a funny joke now because I do what I need. I fill up my own cup. I don't need my kids to fill my cup up for me because I didn't put myself last for them. I had to put myself first so that I could be the best mother I could be to them. And God, I could not imagine what a crappy ass mother I would be if I had 8 kids. And I have no idea the way I experienced your mom was very limited. So I don't really like have an opinion on what kind of your mom was, other than to say,
no holds barred.
I'm really sorry if you see this, but I remember going to your house and Carrie's house as a kid and feeling really bad for you guys because your houses were so messy and dirty. And now when people, like when my kids bring their friends over to my house, I'm like, I get it now. I'm that mom. My bathroom is disgusting right now. There's like always dishes in the sink, and I never clear out the drain or wipe down the countertop every night like my mom did. My mom would, I don't know, my mom kept the countertop wiped down all the time. Our countertop was wiped down all the time. You walk in my kitchen at any time, there will be like coffee grinds, there will be like a spilled soup. Like it looks just like the countertop in your house growing up, like exactly the same. Yeah. So I really got off track there, but yeah.
That's awesome. That's awesome. That's your takeaway.
In the context of me having 3 kids in my house being like that hard to manage, your mom having 8 kids and she keeping up with her house as well as I keep up with it at 3 kids. Actually, your mom was kind of like my hero. So, yeah. Judge not lest you be judged, or whatever my mom always said.
Yeah, we learn, and I think that's part of like, I think at some point part of like my mom's investment in like, you're not an adult until you have kids is actually like you don't understand what I went through until you've gone through it too. And
Okay.
that's like that's there's some piece of that's true.
Oh,
like, I mean that's definitely true. Like that's that like I don't know. I can't judge my siblings or my mom or you or anybody for like how they raise their kids, you know, like unless like they're actually being horrible.
Well, that's very nice of you to say, because there are very many people without kids who love to give unsolicited advice to parents, and it's one of the most annoying things I've encountered in my lifetime. It looks like we lost Kate. I don't know what happened, but
no, that's
I was
the saddest
wondering,
thing.
before you go, I just wanted to ask real quick, and it might not be a quick answer, but I just wanted to ask, so you lost your dad when we were like in 9th grade. So we don't really know what he would think of you now, but we've talked about your mom, and I was wondering, do you ever wonder how it would be if your dad was still here, what he would think, if he would think you had your shit together now, or?
Yeah, I really do wonder that. I have no idea. And I think that to get all woo, I think that he's way cool with me now.
Yeah.
Like, honestly, I do very occasionally get to experience his presence and now, and like he just beams some love at me and seems very pleased with me. And who I am, and my essential being. Yeah, I think that I would have come out a lot later because you know, I was way more invested in pleasing my dad than I was in pleasing my mom. And I think it would have been a harder way to come out. I remember my dad saying, you know, love the sinner, hate the sin. And I think that my dad would have totally risen to the occasion, you know, in loving me. And or I like to think that, and I would love to know what our relationship would be now, like that, you know, I'm 45, we're mature adults. I mean, a semi-mature adult, and like what my relationship would have grown into and be now, because he was like, I thought he was a really cool person.
Yeah.
And but it, yeah, I also wonder, like, would I have stayed in the closet a lot longer?
Yeah.
But then when I came out, maybe it would have been a little bit softer.
Yeah, I do remember your dad being the softer parent.
Yeah.
More chill.
Same.
More, yeah. You were going to say something, Kate?
No, that's how I remember him too.
Yeah. And the one thing that has absolutely nothing to do with what we're talking about, but I'm going to throw it in there anyway, is we always watched movies with your parents. That was like something I like really remember about growing up, is middle school and high school. We'd always, like, me and you end up watching movies with your parents and a couple of your siblings, and they were, I don't know, we both had very overprotective parents. Like, I remember I wasn't allowed to watch Scooby-Doo. You weren't allowed to watch the Smurfs because Father Ed said they were demons, right? Like, I don't
Me too.
I don't know how this happened, but your parents would show us movies with sex scenes, and I remember feeling so uncomfortable watching sex scenes in front of your Christian parents.
Wait, it must have been, do you remember, was it like that movie The Starman or something?
Oh, I don't know. What was that movie? I don't.
Okay. Well, yeah, I don't remember exactly. That's really funny.
Yeah. I mean, they were
scene.
really good movies, and it just seemed like every single movie, it would be like, oh, this looks like an innocuous movie choice. This is a good family-friendly movie. And now that I'm like an adult, I'm considering the fact that, like, I don't know, I still see your parents as like so much above me, right? Still, like, I just haven't spent enough time with your mom as an adult, and your dad is not with us anymore, and I just still see them as like they're adults and I'm a kid, and it's really hard for me to consider that they would have had the same feeling that I have as an adult when that happens to me with kids in the room. But they probably felt pretty awkward too. It didn't seem like that. It seemed like they were like, yeah, whatever. But it
Yeah,
probably wasn't.
they probably poker faced it. Like,
Yeah.
don't make a big deal or this will get worse, you know?
Right,
Yeah,
when your kid falls down and hurts themselves, you're like, you're okay,
Yeah.
shake it off, you know.
Yeah. Don't show fear. They might ask us questions.
I know it. Yeah, like we watched Bed Knobs and Broomsticks when I was a kid, and then later my mom was like, I'm sorry, I shouldn't have let you watch that. It has all that witchcraft in it. It's like,
what do you call Mary Poppins, y'all?
that one did not get an apology. Nope. It didn't have broomsticks.
Yeah.
It was an umbrella, not broomsticks. So clearly not witchcraft.
Altar behind me.
Mary Poppins is not a witch. Mary Poppins is a Time Lord. The umbrella was her sonic screwdriver and her TARDIS. Everyone knows that, Kate. No, her bag was.
I'm gonna say she was in Hogwarts with McGonagall, and that they were lovers.
Oh, I love this.
I want to read that fanfic right now.
Sapphic queens. They were.
Wait, does that fanfic exist?
What?
Does that fanfic exist?
It does now.
Yeah. Will you? That's really nice.
Yes,
I
will.
actually really like Mary Poppins,
I will.
especially Julie Andrews as Mary Poppins.
Yeah.
The only Mary Poppins for me. No offense.
I mean, but I've never watched the Emily Blunt one, but I really like Emily Blunt.
Yeah, she's.
Oh, I didn't know there was another one.
An actress whose movie I didn't even watch. I don't know. That was weird.
Strong effort.
I just always have to take the other side. Sorry, guys.
I never.
No, she's fine. But Julie Andrews, come on.
Yeah, no, I'm just like I'm imprinted on Julie Andrews from Sound of Music and Mary Poppins.
Yes. Okay.
I was like, that is, of all of the female representation, the really incredibly grand spectrum I was presented as a kid.
Nannies. You were presented with nannies, a magical one.
Nannies and nuns. Nannies and nuns.
Yes,
Nannies and nuns.
That's the name of your podcast, Maria. Nannies and nuns. And with that I think we'll end it here. I want to thank Maria for being with us today. And
thank you both so much.
Keep your shit together.
Keep your shit together.
Or not.
Or join the shit show.
Join the shit show. I like join the shit. I really like Welcome to the Shit Show. That's my vote.
Welcome to the shit show. It is. Bye.